Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. This is episode 401. Yes, we got over the 400th show. And we've got a great guest this week, and I've got my great co-host, Cindy Nicholson. But we'd like to say we've got a great guest. We've got Bryce Christiansen of Plusthis. I apologise for my slight stammer there. But we're going to be talking about all things marketing and marketing automation, and we're going to be also talking about Plusthis as well. So Bryce, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, my name is Bryce. I am the head of marketing here at Plusthis. I've been here for almost 4 years now, so it's been really, really cool. And I was really excited to come on the show because one of our big niches for industries that use Plusthis are membership sites.
Yeah.
And I don't often get to kind of talk about Plusthis in regards to that specific niche as much as I'd like to. So this is a really cool opportunity to kind of dig in to an audience that's focused on that and be able to see how I can help you.
Oh, that's great, Bryce. And I've got my great co-host, Cindy. Cindy, would you like to introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Sure. Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, Bryce. Welcome to the show. My name is Cindy Nicholson, and I'm from thecoursewhisperer.com, where I help entrepreneurs who are wanting to create online courses.
Right, straight in to the show. I say that. Let's actually talk about my major sponsor first, and then we can continue the discussion. And that's Kinsta Hosting, and Kinsta provides WordPress hosting, only WordPress hosting. It uses cloud hosting as its platform. What you get from Kinsta is a great interface with all the bells and whistles that if you've got a membership site or a learning management system or anything that needs a little bit extra grunt to keep the performance up to the level that you want for your clients and users and students, Kinsta is something you should go and look at. They offer a great interface, all the bells and whistles, staging site, latest version of PHP. That all means that your website will be really fast. And the main thing is they offer superb 24/7 support from people that actually really know something about WordPress, and they'll be able to help you. They've been sponsoring the show for the past 2 years. I really appreciate their sponsorship. Go to Kinsta for you if you're a power user or if you're a developer. I'm sure you're going to be really happy with Kinsta. So into the show. So Bryce, Plusthis, why was it created, and what was the niche that that the founders of the company saw for Plusthis?
Yeah. So the origin story for Plusthis is it's really interesting because we came out of an agency, basically. It was created over 7 years ago. And at that time, the founders of Plusthis had also started a marketing agency for Infusionsoft, which was kind of revolutionizing this whole marketing automation world and allowing people to do some really cool stuff between emails and websites and membership sites and everything. And so they kept getting clients coming in that were wanting to push the boundaries of marketing automation and be like, hey, do you guys know of a way to be able to apply automation based on how long people watch a video on my website or my membership site? And they'd be like, no, we don't, but we could create that. So they would create a tool. And then the next person would come in, big expert, big speaker, whoever, would be like, hey, I want to be able to create this thing and do this kind of thing. Does that exist right now? Is there a tool that can do that? No, but we have this developer and he can create that tool too. And so over a pace of a year or so, they just started having about 10 or so of these tools that had been created for all these experts out there. And we're like, we could actually probably make this a product. We could put this all together in a toolkit and sell that and make it a product that could help all these marketing automation users that want to be able to do some of the coolest new strategies and tactics when it comes to marketing, and not have to go and buy a dozen outside tools to do it all. So that's kind of the origin story of where Plusthis came from.
Oh, that's great. Before I throw it over to Cindy, I've just got a quick follow-through question. So now you said it's got, a lot of your customers are people in the e-learning arena, i.e. they've got membership sites and they're selling courses online. What are some of the key features of Plusthis that you think that particular user base likes and could benefit from?
Yeah, so I would say the top three are that video triggers thing that I mentioned. There's a lot of membership sites that rely on video content, and they want to personalize the experience for each of their members and be able to do things like track how much of a video people are watching as they're going through different modules, and be able to know and send follow-up based on that too. So if you go through module 1 and you only watch the first minute and then you stop there, you'll get follow-up that will say, hey, it looks like you started it, didn't quite finish it. We have all this great content that comes up in the last, at this point and this point and this point. Encourages people to come back and check it out, or maybe there's leading on to like the next point or tool that we have a math feature too, where a lot of people are using it to add in more gamification with their membership site. So as people complete videos, our systems, our math tool can say, okay, cool, Cindy watched one video, so put that in her like credits box. And now people can use credits to unlock other videos or other courses or whatever it might be. So they're using the combination of like video triggers to track it and then math to create like a gamification credit system. Another one that's popular are some of our like file upload tools. So a lot of membership sites might have homework that you give people after they complete a module, and they need to upload like a document or a screenshot of something that they've done to show that they've taken the learning and they're applying it. And so we have tools that allow you to put a little widget on your membership site that people can drag and drop a file to, and now that tells your marketing automation system, hey, Jonathan's completed this assignment. You don't have to keep sending him emails to remind him to do that kind of thing. So those are just a handful. There's probably a dozen other ones that I have here listed, but we can spread those out, or we can talk about them as we go throughout this interview.
Yeah, I think we talk about them through the show, Bryce. Cindy.
Thanks for sharing that, Bryce. It's interesting because, one of the biggest, but one of the challenges with people who have membership sites or online courses, getting people to finish them, or, once they bought them, actually to go through the course. So it's interesting that some of your tools are really kind of help to make sure that people continue it, like with you're talking about the video triggers or the gamification or what have you. So that's great to hear, because a lot of the, some of the LMSs may be missing those kind of features. So it's good that you support it from that perspective. Can you share, like, do you know any detail, like any stats or any additional information about, what it's like before before you add these tools, with what it's like on the existing membership site versus after they're using the tools? Do you have any, supporting statistics or whatever to share how it actually helps the owners?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So unfortunately, I'm kind of more on the software end of this thing. So we're building the tools, but our partners, we have some really big partners in the membership community. And they kind of keep track of all that, kind of like the results that they're getting from it. And a lot of them are basically requiring each of their clients to use Plusthis with it, because it enables them to add a whole other layer of like personalization and follow up for it. One of my favorites examples is from one of our pieces that we share for free, is called Campaigns for the Titans. And it's a document that is over like 300 pages of campaign walkthroughs. And it has examples of these kind of campaigns that are really common out there in the industry from our experts. And there's a number of them that are focused more on the membership side of things. And I know that some of the experts that we have are working with big profile clients like Tony Robbins and a bunch of other ones too. But it's almost like a must-have for it because of the layer of personalization it adds. But I don't know what the numbers are before and after. That's more of the things that like our partners that are building these things for their clients probably know a little bit better than I do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can only imagine that it would improve the numbers, like just because of that, you know, the additional nudges that you can give them here and there to kind of help them continue on, because a lot of people often forget about their courses once they start. So having those extra features definitely, I'm sure, will help it. Jonathan.
So when it comes to marketing automation, it seems to be the buzzword of the past 18 months, Bryce. And basically, where do you see the automation road going in the next 18 months? And what are some of the key features that you think people got to understand before they go down this road?
Yeah, I'm seeing a big trend towards connecting with people on the platforms that they prefer to connect on. So that means at the start of this whole journey, a lot of people kind of stuck with email, and email was like all they used, and that was kind of what they became comfortable with. But more and more people are now using SMS and tying that into the communication that they're sending out to their customers and to their leads and prospects. We're also seeing a lot of people using Facebook more. So being able to match the messaging that you're sending through your automated marketing campaigns with what people can start seeing on Facebook too, with the ads that you can retarget there. I think you're seeing a lot of people start to use like messenger bots and those kinds of things too. Like Facebook is doubling down on like what kind of tools and abilities you can start doing from just a Facebook Messenger. You can start buying products in the future. You can start doing e-commerce. You can do a lot of things there. WhatsApp's really huge out in other countries outside of the US, and that's becoming a big trend. I can see that communication is going to kind of go from, and marketers are going from just doing most of their stuff on email to all these other platforms where people are rapidly wanting to be able to communicate and get back to you and open your messages actually and see them and be able to interact with the brands that they like. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Cindy?
You mentioned that, membership sites is kind of a niche that you like to focus on. Is there anything different about marketing and marketing automation when it comes to if you're marketing a membership site versus any other type of, product or whatever that you sell online?
Yeah, I was actually in prep for this interview. I was talking with the team and just thinking about like all the use cases and what the support and the launch coaches have done with membership sites when they've helped the customers out. And what's really cool about a membership site that is way different than any of our other customers that don't use them is that you can do a lot more with marketing automation than you could without it. So for example, what I mean by that is we have a lot of tools that rely on knowing who the person is that is interacting with your content. And in order to do that, normally people have to click a link from like an email that you're sending from your marketing automation software. And that's how we know, oh, that was Jonathan that did that, or that was Cindy that did that. What's nice about a membership site is that we know who everyone is inside of a membership site already because they're logged into that thing. So we can do cool things like be able to have it so when someone clicks any kind of links on your membership site, any images, whatever, we can apply automation inside of your marketing automation platform now. So like if Cindy clicks on module 1, image 1, but she doesn't sign up for it, we can send an email in the next couple hours to be like, hey, it looks like this was an interesting course for you, but you didn't sign up. And we can give you 10% off if you want to sign up for it in the next couple of days. We could never do that with the normal website because we would never know who that person was that was actually clicking on those different things to check stuff out. Other examples we could do are like countdown timers. So if you wanted to make some courses expire after a certain amount of time, but not make it so it's like, okay, this course is going to expire for everyone on the site in the next day. You want to do, maybe you want to have one course have a special offer that's only available for specific people for a certain amount of time. And you can do that because you have a membership site again. It's just way more interesting, and the capabilities of what you can do because you know who's interacting on your site are way more flexible than with any kind of normal site.
Yeah, it could even just be a way to keep having touch points with your students as they're part of the course, even if it's not necessarily a marketing,
Right.
strategy. It could be just a way to have something triggered so that you keep that contact, which I think is really important when people are part of your membership site, just so that they don't feel like they're on their own, sort of thing. So that's an awesome way that it could be used.
No, you're right. I'm always thinking on the marketing side because that's my realm, but we have another tool that's really popular that is a calculate time between events. So if you want to calculate the time between like when someone completes one module and the next one, and it's been over 30 days or 60 days, you can build in that automated checkpoint to be like, hey, it looks like you haven't been in for a while, and we want to be able to just make sure everything's okay. If there's anything we can do to get you back, that kind of thing too.
That's awesome. Jonathan.
All right, that was great. We're going to go for our break, folks. We'll be back and we'll be talking more with Bryce and about Plusthis. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. We've had a good discussion with Bryce. Let's continue it. So, Bryce, how does Plusthis work with WordPress? Does it work with WordPress, and what's the integration like, if it is there?
Yes. So we work with WordPress. For a long time, our own website was on a WordPress loadout too. It's probably the most popular way for a lot of small businesses to get started with a website. And we built specific integrations for some of the more popular WordPress related membership sites, like Memberium's a big one for us. So we'll build actual, like inside of Plusthis, we have an option for a lot of our tools to get an embed code that you just put into a WordPress site. And then if you have something more specific like Memberium or Access Ally or Customer Hub, we have specific ones for those too that can just make it work even more smoothly for them.
Oh, that's great. Cindy?
So when it comes to marketing automation, I imagine there's a lot of people that, maybe either are making a lot of mistakes or maybe not using it as efficiently as possible. What are some mistakes you see people making out there when it comes to marketing automation?
Yeah, mistakes I think are sometimes when it comes to like implementing new things, people can feel a little overwhelmed. They can think that they see something that's going on another membership site that they really like and they want to implement, but they put this kind of limiting belief a lot of times that they can't do that, or it's too expensive, or it's got to be like custom dev'd or whatever, things like that. So one of the mistakes I see is that people are just not willing to try new things because of that fear that kind of gets in there. The other common mistakes are things like just when it comes to marketing automation, there's definitely some know-how that comes to making sure it works correctly. And so it's just important to map out what your process is going to look like, what your customer journey might look like before you actually go and build that into the marketing automation. So I see a lot of people that kind of just go into their platforms and start like dragging and dropping different campaigns and emails and things, and then don't realize like where the gaps could be or where things can fall through the cracks. So I'm a big fan of kind of whiteboarding it out, taking what are the possible actions if they do A, B, or C, and kind of figuring that out from a high level before you build it into your marketing automation and membership sites.
Yeah, that would be because you really want that customer experience to be positive. So you need to actually understand the journey that they go through when they actually come to your door, so to speak. No, that's a good point. Jonathan. Yeah,
Brian, you mentioned before Cindy's question, you mentioned about free WordPress service plugins. Do you mind mentioning them again? And as a outsider, you're not linked directly to those plugins, what you think they do and their strengths?
Yeah, so the ones I'm most familiar with and the ones that we directly integrate with are Memberium, Access Ally, and Customer Hub. And Memberium is probably the most popular WordPress related membership site out there that that we integrate with. So that's kind of their strength, is if you have a membership site and you want to be able to use it with your existing like WordPress site, your site's already built on WordPress, you just want to add like a module or a portion of the site that could be membership related on your existing website, they're perfect for that kind of thing. The second one I'm most familiar with is Customer Hub. And what differentiates them is that they're a standalone platform. So you don't have to have an existing website. You don't have to have any kind of connections there. It kind of just works on its own. And it's a quick little easy platform for building those kinds of templates and things like that for membership sites. And Access Ally is another one. They're kind of one of the more newer ones for us. So I'm not as familiar with them, but they're, again, another really good membership site that you can use if you're looking for other alternatives to explore. Yeah,
well, thanks for that. I just thought, because obviously I knew when you mentioned all three of them, but I just thought the listeners and viewers, it would be handy that you could outline what they exactly did. Over to you, Cindy.
So I'm curious how it works then with Plusthis, because it sounds like you have a bunch of different plugins or tools that can be used on a website. Right. So like if something, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. How do they go about, do they get assigned somebody who kind of fills, listens to what they're looking for, whatever? Just tell me what the experience is like for clients that come through your door.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. So those tools that I kind of mentioned earlier with like Memberium and Customer Hub and Access Ally, these are your membership site like foundations, basically. They're the thing that you're going to actually lay out how you want your pages to look and the templates and everything like that for your actual membership site. And Plusthis, where we come in, we're kind of like the add-ons for that. So we're like, hey, I have this membership site and I know I'm going to want to put countdown timers on it. But I need it to interact well with my marketing automation system too. So that they're all three like working together to create a better experience, get more sales, increase how long people stay members, that kind of stuff. So with us, a lot of times people will come to Plusthis and be like, hey, I'm using this membership site with this marketing automation platform. And we want to start using SMS with it. What does that look like? So we offer a free trial. It's free for 30 days. And one of the first things we'll do when you start a free trial is schedule a launch call. And on the launch call, we will sit down. We're familiar with a lot of these tools so that we can kind of look into what you're building or what you want to build. And we can start putting together the first like marketing campaigns or the first couple tools that would exist inside of your membership site. So you can kind of have someone walk you through that whole experience. Inside the app, it's really well laid out too. We have videos that walk through how to implement all of these different tools. There's examples on our website in the knowledge base. There's chat inside the app. There's a lot of ways for people to get the support they need when they're doing these things. But most of the time, all you're doing to implement our tools are you are putting the little settings you want. So for example, with the countdown timer, you might say how long you want that countdown timer to run, or if you want it to run until a certain date that's inside of the marketing automation platform for that person, if you're storing that kind of information. And then we give you a little embed code that you just copy, paste inside your membership site, and you're done. So really easy stuff usually.
And so it's good to have that launch call to really help identify what it is people are looking for in terms of how to, amplify what they've got in their membership site.
Yeah, and we also run a lot of demos. So a lot of times on demos, people will kind of share what they're currently working on, what their challenge is that they want to solve, and want to see how Plusthis could help with that. So, yeah.
It's funny because it's probably like you probably have a lot of things that people don't know they want until they know that you've got it, sort of thing. So that would be a good way of doing it for sure. Jonathan.
Oh, thanks, Cindy. We're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show. Hopefully, Brian's going to stay on for another 10, maybe 15 minutes, and we'll talk. I want to ask him about how Plusthis integrates with webinar platforms, and also ask him what you think, how it works specifically with some of the leading CRMs and what he thinks of some of the CRMs. So we're going to wrap up the podcast about the show. Brian, how can people find out more about Plusthis and about you and the company in general?
Yeah, we just launched a brand new website at plusthis.com. That's completely updated. One of the things I really liked about it is that we've added some specific pages to help walk through actual like use cases and strategies. So go ahead and check that out. You can see our whole full list of 50 plus tools. So you can kind of just scroll through and see like what might be interesting to you. Like Cindy asked earlier too, we have the demos so that if there is something here, but you're not quite sure if you want to try it out yet, you can schedule a demo and see like how it might work in your specific situations. And then last of all, we also have the free trial for Plusthis. So people can go ahead, play with it, have it for 30 days, get on a lunch call. We'll help set up some stuff, see how it's working. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, then that's fine. No problem. Keep your campaigns that we helped with, and we'll try to help you find what you are looking for.
That's great, Brian. Cindy, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
Well, thanks, Bryce, for joining us today. Anyone who needs a little help getting their online course created, you can visit me at thecoursewhisperer.com.
That's great. And if you're looking for a WordPress partner with your membership learning management system and integrating systems like what Plus is offering, go to the WP-Tonic website. We have maintenance plans, and also we have fully hosted plans as well. We do full custom development around membership learning management systems. We'll be back next week with another guest or internal discussion to help you, the e-learning entrepreneur, get that online business up and running and get the results that you're looking for. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye. So, like I was saying, I noticed on your website you have a lot of emphasis around, to some extent, about integrating with webinar platforms and that. So that must be a big question that's asked for you, how to integrate membership sites with webinars. Am I correct about that? And what are some of the leading players in there, and what do you see as their weaknesses and strengths?
Right. No, you're definitely correct. The webinar portion of our tools is one of our like top 5 most used tools inside of Plusthis as well. And it makes perfect sense for a lot of membership sites, because a lot of people come to a membership site because they probably followed some expert and saw a webinar of theirs, and at the end of the webinar, they offered more of that content that was helpful for them inside of their own membership site. So it's a really good strategy for those two. And so the main players that we work with are GoToWebinar, Zoom, and Webinar Jam. And if people are wondering, okay, what does Plusthis do to help with webinars and with membership sites? And the answer to that is that a lot of times with webinar platforms, if you're running these and you also have a CRM like Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or Ontraport, they don't necessarily talk to each other in the smoothest way. And a lot of the people who have to run these webinars they run a webinar, they're trying to get people to register for it. They might have to use that default GoToWebinar registration page, which doesn't convert very well, or the Zoom ones. And they want to use their better looking one with their headshots, and they can design it exactly how they want. So we start at that step, like, okay, you can use whatever registration page you want, and we'll tell GoToWebinar when someone's registered from that page. So now they're inside of your marketing automation system. You can send your reminders from your own emails with your own voice and style, and not have to use templates that are built in from these webinar tools.
Yeah, because I think that's a great point, because most of them,
right.
We had that with our own webinar, and I had some slight technical problems, but we built, I got my developers and we built a custom solution, because a lot of these webinar systems like Zoom and the others you mentioned,
right.
The actual registration page are very unattractive, aren't they?
Right. Yeah, and you don't get the results that you're looking for when you're doing that. When you're paying money, especially like for an ad on Facebook to get people to register for a webinar, you want to make sure that as many of those people that go and see your registration page sign up as you can. And so there's a lot better ways to do that than just use the default like Zoom or GoToWebinar, the landing pages that they give you. And then as far as like the last part that our tools help with is with the webinars. Once you start running your webinars, we can tell who's actually attended those webinars and who's missed those webinars. And now that's going to have appropriate follow-up in your marketing CRMs too. And that's all just automated. There's ways you could do it without these tools, but it required a lot of like manual hours of exporting lists and importing them, and then removing duplicates from your systems and applying tags. And it added up to like several hours for people that do this without any kind of tools. So this is a big time saver for a lot of our users too.
That's great. Cindy?
Well, Jonathan, you actually had a follow-up question with respect to CRM, so I'm going to pass it back to you before I ask my other question.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that, Cindy. So I also noticed, because the reason I bring it up, Bryce, is last week me and Cindy had a bit of a discussion about what I thought was Cindy asked the questions, and I gave my own personal insights about some of the leading CRMs and some of their strengths and weaknesses. And I noticed that you support the leading ones. The ones I covered: Active Campaign, Drip, HubSpot, Infusionsoft, and Attraport. Basically, can you briefly obviously this is a large question, but in your own mind, have you got any insight about the most important differences on some of these leading CRMs, and how should somebody assess if one of these is the right one, if they've got a membership site or a learning management, they're e-learning entrepreneur?
Right. Here's what I would do if I were making my own membership site today, or an e-learning platform. I would start with the platform that I want to use for that. So am I going to use a Memberium tool, or Customer Hub, or an Access Ally, or my own WordPress installment that I'm going to try to make work into this kind of thing? Because a lot of these kind of tools and platforms might interact with specific CRMs too. So you'll want to make sure that there's a good connection between the platform that you're going to be working every day in and the CRM that's going to support that too. So that's kind of step one for me. As far as like marketing CRMs go, all the ones that we're supporting are, at the end of the day, pretty similar in what they're capable of doing for the majority of users. There's going to be slight tweaks or differences that these platforms might have, but for the most part, they're going to send emails when you want to schedule them. They're going to allow you to do broadcasts. They're going to allow you to have like some kind of e-commerce portion if you need to have that kind of stuff. You're going to have templates to create your emails. Some of them will have landing pages too. So what it all comes down to, really, in my opinion, is which one you are most familiar with, or it comes just most naturally to you. Because the differences are going to be mostly in how their campaign builders lay out different things, and how their like sequences might work for sending off emails and things like that. So a lot of them offer like 14-day trials or 30-day trials. I would recommend just look at their websites, pick 3 or 2 to just compare, and play with both of them while you have the trial, and then see which one you feel best with. Because honestly, I have to work in all of them, and if I had to use only one of them, I'd be fine with any of them, really. I could figure out a way to work with all of them. They're all great.
Right. Cindy?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. It's about learning the language, right? Once you learn the language and the way, their quirks of the way they do things, it's a matter of moving forward. So Bryce, I actually, more on a personal note, just wanted to talk to you about your evolution in your career, because it seems like you've had a bit of you've been with Plusthis 4 years, was it?
Almost 4 years, yep.
4 years. So can you tell us a little bit about, how you got to where you are today, and what it's like working for a company like Plusthis?
Yeah. So I started, my interest in marketing kind of started in college. And I started working I was one of the youngest employers at a marketing agency out in Irvine, California, when I was first going to school. And the clients that I was in charge of were companies like Microsoft, Nestle, and some big accounts. And it was a little intimidating having to do a lot of the work for those clients, where I was going around doing promotions and training stores and doing all this stuff to help with the marketing there. So I started off like hoping that I could do something cool with big companies. And I graduated from college in around 2009, and there really weren't any good opportunities for entry-level marketers at that time, pretty much. So I moved on, did some sales, and immediately learned that I really didn't like doing cold calling because I learned all these really cool techniques and marketing automation in school and in just my own community, because I lived around the area where Infusionsoft was growing up and being big. So I tried to convince the people I was at to do more of this smart marketing instead of just buying lists and cold calling them. And they wouldn't be convinced. So I left shortly, like probably a year after working with them, and started working in small businesses again with an executive coach. And they were using Infusionsoft, and that was great. And I was there to help them get that going. And we started implementing some tools like Plusthis, and started having good success with some of those things. And that led to me, when Plusthis was finally getting to a point where like, we need to actually hire some people now to make Plusthis successful too. I put my toes in the water for that to see if, hey, I like to do that. And that's kind of where it came to today. So I've been here for the last 4 years, helping them grow. We're a multi-million-dollar company now. When I first started, we were working around a small table inside of a whole other company's office, and it was really fun doing all that scrappy stuff. But to see how Plusthis has grown over the last couple of years and where it's headed is really exciting too.
I think Cindy's, I think she's, oh, it's back again. The technology. Well, thanks for that, Bryce. That was a great reply. I think we're going to finish the show now. Thanks so much for Bryce for coming on. It's been a blast. You have to come back. I think we've only touched the surface. And thanks, Cindy. We'll be back next week with another great guest or eternal discussion, but I'm pretty sure we've got a great guest. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Bryce.